housekeeping. We for a couple of these, but we have our chat feature. You need any assistance, have any additional questions, you're very welcome to email us. We're here for all of the assistance you needed, and we will be recording this as we will be sharing it all with you later for your enjoyment and being able to get back and re-watch this if you have any questions later. So our next slide, please. All right, so warm up and energizer for today. So in the chat, or you can come off mute, your name and your organization. And if you could have any superpower, what would it be? And why would you have that superpower? It doesn't have to be a long explanation, but if you could have anyone, what would your superpower be? And then why would you have it? I see a few of you thinking.
You already know mine.
Teleportation.
I know mine too.
What is it?
So my name is Greg Sakaris. I am a very happy member of the Sentient Research team. And my superpower is a bit of a psychological one. I think my superpower would be I would want to be able to know how other people see and think about me.
Oh, okay.
And
Do you want to read minds?
And I guess the reason is, none of us are ever really sure about that. And it's something I've thought about since I was a child, actually. So that would be mine.
Wow.
Okay. I see a lot of teleportation, the ability to fly. Sounds like traffic is a big issue. Invisibility, I think that'd be mine as well, Erica. If I could just disappear occasionally and then pop up somewhere else. Yeah. What else do we have? Time travel. Okay. Oh, the ability to heal by touch. Understand and speak all languages. Telekinesis to move stuff around. Okay. Getting creative. I don't know what stocks to invest in, Ashley. That's a good one. Mind control. Invisibility seems to be pretty popular. Light. Travel. That seems to be a good one. A ghost. Talking with okay. Okay. We've got some creative superpowers. Okay. Teleportation is very popular. I like it. To absorb any skill or ability. Okay. Telekinesis. Pretty consistent. You want to be a slayer? You're trying to take down all the bad guys or all the good guys? X-ray vision. You would not want X-ray vision. Okay, got it. Speak any and every language. Okay. Make meals by snapping your fingers, Jamie. That's a good one. I didn't think about that. No more meal prepping for you. All right. Well, thank you all for participating. It gives you some time to think about each superpower that you would ever have and what would you do with it. We can go to our next slide, please. And I'm handing it over to Erica.
Great. Thanks, Jeanette. I feel like I'm learning even more about it by reading these superpowers. It's a lot of fun. So why are we here today? Well, I think for one, it's just great to gather together and to see all of you and to hear about superpowers. But also it's, I think also, of course, coming together just so that we can provide updates to each other, give each other a chance to ask questions and connect and to support each other. I really have to say it's been so meaningful to have such a supportive group together. And just so you know, um, all of you, the grantee, our grantee partners, um, all of us at PHI also feel supported by all of you by coming together. So really the support goes both ways. Our objectives for today will be to share grant activity updates, timelines, next steps, to answer questions related to, we're going to talk a little bit more about the Cali Participatory Learning Project because I know we really packed in a lot the last time. So we wanted a little bit extra time to talk about it and to also break out into groups and to talk more about that among other topics. Also, I know there might still be some questions in regards to the statewide month of action, so we're leaving a little time for that and to provide you with some updates for that. We want to close the feedback loop for the implementation evaluation survey and just share some more updates on upcoming events. I think the next slide just has our agenda, which basically lays out what I was just saying. We have another agenda filled with a lot of fun things to learn about each other, especially our grantee spotlight this month, which is Cal Pride. I'm looking forward to that. And we're kind of hoping, don't get your hopes up too much, but we're hoping to be able to wrap up a little bit early today because we want to be, I think we're all really busy. It's a busy time. Fall gets to be very busy. So I think everybody could appreciate getting some time back. So we're going to try to shoot for that. But we also, I think last time we didn't quite have enough time for breakout. So we want to make sure we have enough time for breakout, small group breakout this month. So I think that's it. I don't know if there are any questions about the agenda. All right, and if any of you feel like you want to make some announcements today, just let us know. Just come off mic and make that announcement. We'll definitely give you time and space. All right, let's move on.
Thank you, Erica. Next slide, please. We'll hand this over to Emily.
Hi, everyone. Good morning. So we're just going to jump right into kind of circling back to the last TSL a little bit. I know we poured a lot of information on you during that meeting, and so we wanted to come back here and provide a little bit of space for any follow-up questions you might have. I know that I have received a few questions about what is expected from the Participatory Learning Project concept that is due on October 31st. And so I just wanted to direct folks back to the Participatory Learning Project guidance document that was shared during that meeting and also shared in the follow-up email. We are going to put a link to that document as well into the chat so you have access to it. And I'll direct you to the last 2 pages of that document, pages 3 and 4, and you should see it is in kind of a worksheet format. This is really the worksheet for your participatory learning project concept. So to clarify, the concept that's due on October 31st is going to your TA provider. And it's really an opportunity to talk through your concept that you've come up with, your team and the youth that you plan to involve in building out this project, and bring it back to your TA provider to talk through it and talk through any questions you might have and work kind of through that brainstorming process. So the worksheet on pages 3 and 4 of the guidance document, is really all you'll need to submit to your TA provider. That is sufficient for submitting your concept. That being said, if you and your team and the youth want to submit something more detailed or more involved, you're also welcome to do that. So just wanted to provide a little bit of clarification around what the concept expectations are. And so in that document, you'll see kind of key deadlines, which the first of that being the October 31st concept due. And then the actual project isn't due until much later next spring. So So that is the first thing I wanted to just circle back on. And I saw Jamie just put the link to that guidance document into the chat. So please feel free to refer back to that while beginning to build out your concept for the participatory learning project. I also received some questions from folks or requests from folks for examples and resources to help support you all with building out your concepts. So we're going to drop a couple of links into the chat. One is a post about participatory storytelling. And within that post, you'll find some great resources embedded. And then and thank you, Jamie, for putting that in the chat. We're also going to link a document with some examples and resources. Now, this is really kind of a brainstorming document, and it is by no means exhaustive. It just provides a few ideas for participatory learning projects that your team could work on, or the start of ideas. And so, feel free to take a look at that. There's links in there as well to different online resources. But again, it's not exhaustive. You do not need to reference this, and pick from the list by any means. It's just to offer some examples and additional resources. And then finally, and then I'll stop talking, I wanted to direct you all back to the December TSL that Erica and Jesse led, and remind you all that that was focused on participatory action research and participatory evaluation. So we're going to put a link to, it's in there, a link to the TSL slides. These are all on our CYBHI website now. So you can go back and take a look at any of the past TSL slide decks. But for the purposes of this participatory learning project, I'll direct you to the December 2024 TSL slide deck. Feel free to take a look at that for some examples of participatory evaluation. So
And if I can,
yeah, jump in, Erica.
I was just going to say too, for the December TSL, just remember we talked both about participatory action research and participatory evaluation. They're slightly different, but they have the same core values. So that's just wanted to remind you of that. And so when you scroll through those slides, you'll see some examples. One of them being, for example, on photo voice. And there was one, it was a Hawaii Community Foundation photo voice project, and it had to do with mental and behavioral health for very young children. And so the topic is kind of relevant too, so it could be a nice little example there for some inspiration. And similarly, for the link that Jamie put in on participatory storytelling, there should be a link in there for examples of different types of things to just sort of help you think of different ideas too, if you're stuck on ideas. And I think the next slide also has a list of different ideas.
Yes, thank you. So here's just a brief list of some examples of participatory storytelling and some ideas to take a look at. Again, this is not exhaustive, but it does provide some possibilities for what you and your team and the youth might come up with for ways to tell the story of the success of your campaign. So I'll pause now and see if there's any additional clarification needed, or if folks have any other lingering questions about this participatory learning project. And feel free to type into the chat or come off.
And please, 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 if we have questions or ideas or thoughts, we won't see you all again until the convening. So we want to make sure, we have this space to give you the time to ask those questions and get those things out so that we can, make sure you have everything you need. We do have one in the chat for a video limit. Is there a time for video format? Is there a time limit?
No, we're not putting any time limit. So whatever you need. I see a question there about how will we be presenting your project? So you'll be sending it to us, but we're hoping that at the final convening, which is a showcase convening, you'll have the opportunity and time to present your project. And we're still brainstorming on the format for that, but we're hoping that the showcase is the time to culminate in a way to show off your project. So stay tuned for that. But the due date for this participatory evaluation project is before the showcase. So again, we were thinking about the sequence of all of this.
All right, we have a hand raised. Go ahead.
You know, what kind of advice would you have when we're talking to our youth, primarily high school students for us, on who their audience should really be? Sometimes when we're doing these projects, we do come to them and say, hey, look, we're part of the larger statewide project. And so there's this feeling like they're producing it for us here. And I wonder if they want to do it for their peers. It's like, I wonder if, I mean, there's probably various audiences, but do you have any guidance of when we're speaking with our youth, kind of how would we guide them on selecting the audience for who they're sharing with?
I mean, I think their audience should absolutely be their peers. And I think that's what's great about, I think what we're talking about is youth are great storytellers and they still tell stories in their own way. And a lot of times they're just not afraid to do that. And so I think that they should definitely think about their peers as their number one audience. But the other thing too is like, if they're trying to get a message through to the adults in their lives, like, hey, this is what I need. This is what I want. Can you hear me? That could be another possible audience too. But really, I think the number one audience for this is their peers, because I think we want peers to feel safe. And that's where we want to see the change happening, is in the community of their peers.
Thank you for that question. That was a great question. And I agree, Erica. I think both. We can definitely talk to both. Any other questions? We've got some time.
There was another question in the chat. How will we be presenting our projects?
Oh, that was the one I just answered. It would be at the showcase.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But hopefully it's a lasting project to tell people like, this is how, we would love to have you put your projects on your website, and we would like to put it on ours as well. Because again, it's one of those great artifacts that we want people to say, hey, this is what worked in our community, or people want to use it in their communities. And yeah.
All right, we've got a hand.
All right, one more question.
Go right ahead.
Do you think in the actual, if they're doing more visible projects, should we also make sure on crediting the project, the CYBHI? I don't know how much guidance we've given our youth around that. So any advice there would be great.
That's a good question.
I'm sorry, was that I missed, was it about crediting?
Yeah, giving
how to
credit or
credit?
acknowledging, because sometimes we'll put a whole bunch of logos on our
Yeah.
our stuff, and everyone's logos on there. And sometimes we're like, whoa, it's logo overload, or maybe we put
Yeah.
a statement.
Yeah.
But I
I
don't know
think
if
we
we've
put
really
it
thought.
somewhere. It's just a fun. Well, we can send it rather. Yeah, we'll send it out we'll send out the proper wording and different ways to acknowledge.
I think I mean, obviously that's really important, both from a giving credit standpoint, but I think also to a transparency
Mhm.
standpoint. The other thing that brings up to me is that, I think we should thank the youth participants in some way, not necessarily by name, but just, at the end of the slide or something, acknowledging, that this work could not be done without the youth participants from the community, and giving them some credit.
I agree. I definitely agree. I mean, they've been the foundation of this work and very instrumental. So, hands down, giving credit where credit is due, and they're involved from the beginning to the end. So, I think that's a great statement. Thank you for that, Greg, as well. Thank you for the questions in the chat. Those that come off mute, we greatly appreciate them. If you have anything else, your TAs are definitely here to help and assist, brainstorm during your TA meetings. You can also email us at our CYBHI email. We'll get responses out. We've put a couple of examples with links in the chat. We want you to get creative. This is your story. This is the story of your youth you're working with. Get creative. Have fun with this. Nobody can tell the story as they can tell their story. So this is the time to really kind of bring everything together. All right, next slide, please. And I think we're handing this over to Jamie.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Yeah, we wanted to take a few minutes, next slide, please, to close the feedback loop on the first implementation evaluation survey that was conducted pretty early on in this project, I think back in December 2024. We also call that the key informant surveys. And Sentient shared those results back at the May convening, and then I believe we shared them again at the June TSL. And as you know, it's important not only to share data back with the community, but also to let folks know what happened as a result of that data. So we wanted to take some time to share that with you today. And we know that many grantees also have this practice with their community members. So we just wanted to take a little bit of time to share this with you. So next slide, please. So we heard in that original survey back in December that grantees needed more resources for campaign content creation, social media, and the October convening that will be coming up. We will have some in-depth workshops that will be run by our grantees, as well as more peer-to-peer sharing opportunities for grantees to share resources back and forth. So we're hoping that can be helpful, as well as we are hoping for more technical trainings to be conducted by our partner at Rescue Agency. We also heard, and we won't go into all the results here, just a little bit. We also heard that grantees wanted support with sustainability, and that is also a main focus in our October convening. So we are looking forward to having those more in-depth discussions on how to support grantee sustainability efforts. And next slide, please. We also heard that grantees have difficulty with recruitment, engagement, things like that, as well as challenges related to campaign planning, development, and dissemination. And many of those can be ongoing. Sometimes recruitment, get a whole bunch of folks, and then the next time around it's harder. So, I believe that is part of what is focused on in the TA sessions with your TA provider. We hope that, TSLs like this and future TSLs can be an open place for discussion and Q&A to share and troubleshoot together. And then we also wanted to focus on the Spotlight series that's now on our website that does share successes of grantees that hopefully can be supportive to everyone. Next slide, please. But we realize, many of the challenges you are experiencing are ongoing. So please, please, please feel free to share your thoughts or feedback, whether that's at a TA session. There will be a post TSL survey that will be shared at the end of this TSL. Feel free to put your feedback in there or any thoughts or advice on how our team at CWN, as well as our partners, can be more responsive to your needs. And yeah, we just have an open door policy, so feel free to, share your thoughts at any time. And yeah, we just wanted to share this in preparation for our next round 2 implementation evaluation survey. So before we go into that, I just wanted to kind of open the space here to see if anyone has any thoughts or feedback that you would like to share. Feel free to add it in the chat, come off mute. You can always also text us or email. But yeah, anyone would like to share anything with us about your feedback and related to the implementation evaluation survey or our response to that? Yes, and Erica added into the chat, you can always pull us aside at this upcoming convening, which is always a great time to see each other in person to kind of talk and troubleshoot together. Great. All right. Well, if there is not anything right now, I will pass it on to Sapna at Sentient Research, who will announce the next round of the implementation evaluation survey. So Sapna.
Thank you, Jamie. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yes.
Great. So, like Jamie mentioned, the wave 2 of the implementation evaluation survey is forthcoming. We'll plan to send it out in October. As you may remember, I collected names of both staff members, community members, youth who were involved in the campaign development and implementation closer to the time of our last convening. So I have collected those names. If for any reason you want to change the names, maybe nominate somebody new, although we would hope that they've been involved in the process long enough to be able to like contribute meaningfully to the survey and give really a rich feedback. Feel free to shoot me a note if you want a reminder of who you've already nominated. You can also reach out and ask me. We just ask that if you have any new nominations, you provide those to us by the end of this week so we can prepare to send those out. And then second, Greg and myself will plan to be at the convening next month. So I know that many of you are likely in the data collection stages and probably getting towards analysis. So we will be there to support and have office hours in a similar way to which we had last time. So we'll kind of just keep it open. We'll maybe have a sign up sheet and you can sign up on site for a particular time slot. And yeah, we'll have some resources on basic like data analysis techniques. If you have instruments that you want sort of real-time feedback on, we can provide that as well. So anything you really need, Greg and myself will be there. And yeah, any other questions about these two things, feel free to reach out and I will get back to you.
Thank you, Sapna. I put your name and email address in the chat so that folks can send you any new nominations if they happen to have any. But like you said, we hope that they have their same ones. Erica, your hand is raised. You're on mute, Erica.
Sorry about that. All right, now I'm off mute. So maybe this isn't totally final yet, but is wave 2 of this implementation survey, is it the final wave?
I think my understanding is that it is. Jorge, potentially, or Greg, if you understand differently. But I think it's my understanding that the first one kind of focused more on campaign building. The second one is more on campaign implementation. And so those are sort of the two areas that we're interested in.
That
Great,
is
yeah.
yeah, that's my understanding as well.
Okay, good. I just thought it'd be helpful for everyone to know for planning purposes and, timelines. There's so much going on in this final year. So thanks for clarifying that.
Thank you. Any questions for Sentient? We all know that we can invite them to our TA meetings if you have any individual questions concerning your evaluation and data collection and all those good things, and you will see them at the convening.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a good reminder. If there's upcoming calls that you'd like us to participate on, we're very happy to. And also just a reminder that we don't need to stay on for the whole call. We can join at the beginning and then allow you to have your regular business with PHI without us on the call.
Greg, they are very willing to be there. So if you need any assistance, by all means, reach out. All right, thank you. Next slide, please. And I will hand it over to CYBHI.
Thank you, Jeanette. So good morning, everyone. Please welcome the Grantee Spotlight presentation of the day, which is by Cal Pride. I will now hand it over to Salma to tell you more about the incredible organization and the awesome work that they have been doing. So Salma, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Sai. Good morning, everyone. It's such a pleasure to be speaking to everyone for this TSL today. As introduced, my name is Salma Torres. I am the Director of Education and Youth Equity for Cal Pride, and my pronouns are they, them, ella. And today we just want to talk a little bit about our CYBHI Cali Grantee project and all of the work that we've been doing here in the Central Valley. Next slide, please. So a little bit about Cal Pride is we are a 501c3 nonprofit dedicated to the empowerment of the LGBTQ plus community through intersectional advocacy, transparent education, and trauma-informed care. Now, we really like to highlight the intersectional advocacy. One of the main things that our CEO and founder, John Aguirre, always states is that the LGBTQ plus community intersects every identity in life, every race, every ethnicity, every disability. There are members of us throughout all of these varying identities. So it's very important that when we're advocating on behalf of all of these other identities, that we're also remembering to uplift the LGBTQ plus intersections in all of those different spheres. So Cal Pride has been around since 2015. We're actually celebrating 10 years on October 11th. Ironically enough, or unironically, that is National Coming Out Day. Today is also National Bisexual Visibility Day. So happy Visibility Days to everyone for that. And for these last 10 years, Cal Pride has been providing LGBTQ plus resources to California, Central California, through training, social and support groups, and advocacy efforts to promote broader visibility in California's rural areas. So as you can see in our little map here, we cover 7 different counties in the northern San Joaquin Valley and the Sierra Nevada foothills. In Amador, Calaveras, Tuolumne, and Mariposa counties, we are the only LGBTQ plus resource available for them there. So all in all, the total population size that Cal Pride serves in these 7 counties is over 1 million, or twice the population of San Francisco, I should say. And we're doing it with a staff of 20. And it is a lot of work. My team and I, the people who do the Cali campaign on behalf of Cal Pride, we are constantly driving, running across all 7 counties. But every time we show up to AGSA, that is the Gender Sexuality Alliance or the LGBTQ plus clubs on middle school and high school or college campuses, the way that these youths' eyes light up, knowing that there is a resource there for them, there is someone there for them to be able to talk to relate to, it's just a feeling that can't be replicated by anything else. Something that I always remind my staff of is queer educators are proof of queer futures. Reminding these youth that the visibility that we bring to them proves to them that a lot of them don't think that they're going to make it past a certain age. And by us showing up, we're telling them, hey, you're going to make it past a certain age and you can make it past a certain age. So Cal Pride, we have now 4 different offices, I should say. We have Cal Pride Stanislaus, which is located in Modesto and services Stanislaus County. We have Cal Pride Valle Central, which services Merced and Madera counties. And then we have Cal Pride Sierras, which services, again, the 4 counties, Amador, Calaveras, Tuolumne, and Mariposa counties. And in Stanislaus County, this Friday, we are actually opening up our brand new youth drop-in center. So this is a center specifically designed with youth in mind, especially neurodivergent youth, a safe place for them to be able to come, be themselves, and not feel pressured to closet themselves, mask, don't feel the pressure to spend money. Nowadays, everything costs money, right? The only place that these youth can go to is the public library. But even then, they probably don't always feel safe hanging out there. So being able to provide them with a space where there's no obligation to do anything other than just be is one of the most exciting things that's coming up on Cal Pride's radars. Next slide, please. So with CYBHI, Cal Pride has implemented our Call Up a Friend campaign. Now, as our TA provider side can tell you, we had a lot of growing pains with this campaign. Initially, it took a lot of pivoting for us to be able to find this specific youth pools for them to come and participate in this campaign. The area in California that we live is colloquially known in the area as Calabama, because it is not the safest place or the most inviting and respectful place for the LGBTQ plus community. In fact, a lot of our LGBTQ plus youth feel as if though they need to leave this part of California to be themselves. So a part of Cal Pride's mission is making this space a lot safer, a lot kinder, and a generally more accepting place for them to be able to live and feel as if they don't have to flee their hometowns, right? So with that, the initial problem that we found was that a lot of the youth were very hesitant to come to Cal Pride. There is a giant rainbow flag above our building. And while it's great for visibility and it's great for letting people know that we're here, for a lot of youth who are not out to their parents, that's not really a building that they can necessarily walk into. So what my team and I had to do is we had to start figuring out where are these youth and how can we go to them as opposed to expecting them to come to us. So eventually we found out that the GSAs, the Gender Sexuality Alliances in schools, there were very few in the county. However, whatever few there were, we latched onto them and started building our participant pool through them. Initially, we only started with 2 to 3 GSAs participating in our project. Now in our second wind, now that the school year has started back up again, we are up to 8 GSAs, and we also help open and start up brand new GSAs. So essentially, we are creating these safe spaces within the high school campuses as well. We have actually 3 more that just reached out to us wanting us to come on out and build a club for them, which is very exciting because once we get that club running for them, that means we get to implement the Call Up a Friend campaign. Next slide, please. So one of the biggest things that we saw when trying to research and navigate the way that we were going to carry out the Call Up a Friend campaign was 90% of LGBTQ plus young people said that their well-being was negatively impacted due to recent politics. So as I'm sure we're all very aware, the federal administration is not the kindest to the LGBTQ plus community, unfortunately, especially when it comes to a lot of our LGBTQ plus youth. Even though we have the privilege of living in the state of California that has numerous rights that are safeguarded to the LGBTQ plus community, our youth are still being affected by hearing politicians, by hearing people in high up federal positions talk down to the LGBTQ plus community, and subsequently their parents or their guardians or their loved ones show vocal support to these politicians who are being unkind to the LGBTQ plus community. So Cal Pride really took that and said, what can we do if these youth are not feeling safe enough to reach out to support to their guardians or their loved ones? Next slide, please. And that's really where we started developing the Call Up a Friend campaign. So we began by running multiple focus groups. And these focus groups were in the form of ongoing conversations with middle school and high school students in the GSAs that we were initially partnering with. And in a lot of these conversations, what we did is identify the stressors and other risk factors for LGBTQ plus youth. As many of us on this call might be aware, minority stress, unfortunately, is rampant within the LGBTQ plus community. This is high levels of toxic stress that can high levels of toxic stress that can unfortunately cause other negative health impacts, such as high levels of anxiety, high levels of depression, mood disorders, and unfortunately suicidality. So what we then were doing is trying to figure out with open-ended conversations, what can we do to help mitigate the risks of these minority stress factors? A lot of what we started our conversations with, however, specifically GSAs belonging to the alternative schools in the areas, as well as independent study programs and foster programs, where oftentimes a lot of the LGBTQ plus youth weren't really paid attention to, right? These were the youth who were kind of left behind, not really given much attention, thought, hey, a lot of these kids, if they graduate, that's great. But for us, we wanted to make sure that these youth still need our attention, and these youth, probably more than any of the other youth in the county, need our help. So we began the conversation there with a lot of our alternative schools. And we started taking the information out. We heard a lot about substance use. We heard a lot about fighting in school. We heard a lot about homophobia and transphobia. And when we heard this from the beginning schools, we started taking them out to all of the different GSAs that we were helping start up and asking them, do you feel the same way? And when we identified mainly the biggest stressor was that a lot of our LGBTQ plus youth felt as if though there was no one that they could talk to. And if they felt as if they were someone their friends could talk to, they didn't necessarily know what to say to their friends. And so that was the big issue that we were confronted with. If these youth are willing to help each other, they don't want to talk to the parents, they don't want to talk to their free teachers, they want to talk to a friend, but they feel as if though they can't comfort their friends, what can we do to solve that problem? Yes, so power shifting is one of our biggest principles here at Cal Pride. We are making sure that when this campaign is being developed, it is not being developed by us. We are not the experts in these rooms. It is being developed by the youth. The language, the assets, the imagery, all of it is being designed by our youth, because at the end of the day, we want this campaign to be for youth, by youth. Next slide, please. And so a lot of our campaign, as I shared previously, was a lot of trial and error. So we would go into the GSAs. We have a policy here at Cal Pride that in order not to out anyone, we don't take pictures of anyone's actual faces or any actual person. So as you can see here on the picture on the right-hand side, we would go into GSA, bring our resources, bring our swag, things for kids to kind of take and have for themselves, and just have those initial conversations. We wanted to make sure that we could bring youth to the table. And then we found out, you want to know what really brings youth to the table? Pizza. So we would buy these youth a bunch of food, all of the lunchtime food that they would want. We would try to vary it. We do pizza this time. We do Wingstop that time, whatever they wanted. We just wanted to get youth through the doors, and food is the way to do that. So we'd start having our lunchtime meetings, started designing a lot of our campaign assets, and really trying to find the ways that was best suited to advertise to our youth. And eventually, when we found our rhythm, when we started being able to collect a larger group of participants, that's when we really started hosting a lot of the focus groups using the education software Mentimeter, which is I don't know how many of us use Mentimeter, so stop me if y'all know this. It is a wonderful resource where youth can use their phones, scan a QR code on the board, and they will be able to anonymously participate. And that way, a lot of our youth are shy. They don't necessarily want to share out loud, but they are more than willing to share on the board, especially when they know it's anonymous. Another thing that we did is we hosted an LGBTQ plus prom, because even if we had youth who were, yes, Mentimeter is an amazing tool. Even if we had youth who were coming to our LGBTQ plus meetings at their schools, we knew there was still a population that we were not reaching, because not everyone goes to the GSAs at schools. So when we started advertising our spring fling, we had about, I want to say, between 70 to 90 individuals come to our LGBTQ plus youth prom. And that during that prom, we implemented another survey in which we were able to gather the different information about the different health disparities that the youth were seeing in their counties, as well as resources that they would like to see coming from the Call Up a Friend campaign. Next slide, please. And so what we saw from a lot of our campaign, as we previously shared, was the LGBTQ plus youth identifying substance use and pervasive feelings of not feeling safe at school as the main issues in their communities. The Call Up a Friend campaign actually came from an alternative school in which we were hosting a GSA at. One of the students who was an NA participant had shared with us that the thing that they had benefited most from was their sponsor, them being able to call someone up and say, hey, I'm feeling this way, can I talk to you until the feeling goes away? And that's really when it clicked for our team and I of that should be the main message of the campaign, the main modality of the campaign, making sure that the youth know that even if it feels as if though they are feeling alone, it feels that they are not safe, that they are stronger together in community. And so with that, we really were able to kind of take a bunch of different names to the youth, have them try on different names for the campaigns. At first it was the Call Me campaign, and then it was the See Me, Hear Me, Be With Me campaign. And then finally at one of our GSAs, someone said, well, what about the Call Up a Friend campaign? And everyone fell in love with that one. And we started taking it around to the different GSAs and everyone was in agreement. Call Up a Friend was the name of the campaign. In a lot of our different surveys, we saw that LGBTQ plus youth felt most comfortable reaching out to their friends or teachers regarding their CYBHI identities. Unfortunately, not their guardians, as we have surveyed. A lot of them felt scared that their guardians were supporting politicians or individuals who were not friendly to the LGBTQ plus community. Youth were additionally willing to support one another, but struggled on how to actually help each other. And we also found that now more than ever, LGBTQ plus youth were willing to self-advocate and stand up for one another. So in kind of bringing all of this together and fitting all of the pieces, one of the things that my team and I did is we shifted our focus during the summer months when school was out to research and implementation. There is this wonderful certificate that we gave all of our youth an opportunity to receive called the Be There certificate. It was through the Born This Way Foundation, that is Lady Gaga's nonprofit, that actually is a wonderful tool. So during all of these GSA visits, we would go in, help the kids get started, work on these certificates, and if they sent the certificates to us, we would give them a $20 gift card, and it essentially trains them on how to be able to peer support their friends. And then we took all of this information that they learned from the Be There certificate, and we asked them, what should we put on the flyers? What should we put on our posters? What information do you think was best that you learned from this for us to be able to share in your own words on the Call Up a Friend campaign? And through that, we were able to build their knowledge, their skills, and their confidence to support their friends who were struggling with their mental health, their sexual orientation, or their gender identity. And they were trained on how to recognize when their friends or loved ones might be struggling with their mental health, their role in supporting that person, and how to connect them to community resources. So it was really, after a very long time of struggling to find where these youth were, where we could find these youth, what we could do for these youth, it was beautiful to watch them come back with this fountain of knowledge of, this is what I learned from the resource you provided to us. This is the way we want to implement it in our community. And that leads into, next slide, please. The next steps of our campaign. So as you can see, we have a bunch of different logos. These logos still need to be colored. That is coming up in our next sessions. Are all different logos for the different GSAs that we work with. Each GSA is going to have a personalized campaign package, whatever they feel is best suited to the culture of their school and their community. The Call Up a Friend campaign will be finalized with school-specific designs by late October, early November, and the campaign will begin circulation in time for the holiday season, which we know, unfortunately, is a season where a lot of LGBTQ plus youth feel lonely. A lot of them, unfortunately, don't have the safety of being with family authentically as themselves. So this is where the Call Up a Friend campaign is going to come in most use, right? Making sure that they know, this is how I can talk to my friend. This is how I can support my friend during these tough times. And while the campaign is running, we will get in touch with local media resources to push the campaign's reaches even further. We have wonderful partnerships with our local newspapers, with our local radio stations. We have a podcast team up in the Sierras, the mountain community that we serve, who are going to help us further disseminate this information. And then our LGBTQ plus youth, starting in our next meetings, will also be able to develop the audiovisual format to support the campaign through the end. So we're going to ask them, hey, do you want to do a video? Do you want to do a podcast? What is it that you want to do to be able to show what you've learned through this campaign and give it just its final kick to make it something more, I guess, immortalized, right? Make sure that it is something that once the Cali campaign ends can still be useful for their communities. Next slide, please. So thank you so much, everyone, for listening to that. We are so thankful to have been able to partner with CYBHI. It has definitely been one of the more greater learning experiences for my team and I, in making sure that we know how to listen to the youth, we know how to respect what the youth are saying, and trust that the youth are the experts in their lives, that at the end of the day, they're the ones who know what they need. And it's up to us as the adult in their lives, the positive adult figures, to listen and make sure that we're providing them with the resources that they need. If anyone at any point wants to get in touch with us, wants to learn a little bit more about the Cali campaign, or would like to just exchange resources for the LGBTQ plus community in the Central Valley, my contact information is on the screen. And if anyone has any questions right now, I'd be happy to answer them. Thank you, Kamali. Thank you, Jeanette. Thank you, Julie.
Hearing anything. So, some of their information is on the screen, but they're nice. So email them, contact them. They don't bite. So as always, thank you so much for the wonderful presentation on your work, Summer. You guys are doing incredible and serving the Central Valley. So good job. Awesome work. So now I'll hand it over to Cassie for the statewide month of action and fall convening updates.
Great, thanks, Sai, and I totally agree. Great job, Cal Pride team. Yeah, so we just wanted to, share a few reminders and open it up for questions with regard to the statewide month of action, as well as the upcoming fall convening. So next slide. So statewide month of action, or as you've probably seen, SMOA. Thank you for submitting your November SMOA event ideas and needs via the survey. I think we're just missing a handful from several grantees. So if you could get those in today, I know Rescue and others are waiting just so they can figure out boxes and materials and all, but thank you for, to everyone for getting those in. And hopefully that also helped you start to think about it a little bit. I know that it was introduced last month at the TSL, and I think a lot of you are still kind of in the early stages of figuring out what you would like to do, and that is absolutely fine. So yeah, continue planning. In the meantime, we will share a planning document that will be due October 24th, which will have some of similar questions from the survey, but a couple more that, require a little bit more thought about what you want to achieve and objectives and things like that, that hopefully will just, once November comes, everything's sort of in the plan and you can roll it out. And don't worry, we're here to support. We have time during our TA meetings to help brainstorm if needed. We're also carving out some time. There will be dedicated time during the convening to discuss the SMOA events and help finalize your plan, which will be due just a couple days after that. So plenty of time to, keep thinking and figuring it out, and we're here to support. In terms of resources, you have the August TSL slides and recording the event in a box list that was shared recently that Rescue put together. And then coming soon, I know Rescue's working on a SMOA host guide that is very detailed. So plenty of kind of resources to help you get thinking and stay organized and kind of approach this in a step-by-step kind of process. So, but questions, any burning questions right now? All right, I'm not, or feel free to put it in the chat too. Yeah, and thank you, Emily. You know, even if you're thinking of just doing the digital format, please do fill out that survey, because then they know, you know, even if they don't need to send a box, it's sort of tracking what grantees are planning and working on. A link to the previous SMOA handout. Yeah, we can do that. I think we sent like a soft copy via the email, but we can definitely do that. We will share that out. Thanks, Kristen. Any other questions? All right. Well, you can, again, approach your TA with any questions, and we'll talk about this a bit more during the convening. So with that, why don't we go to the next slide? Fall convening. So yeah, as Jeanette said earlier, that will be the next time that we all meet up. And, you know, I know our team is very excited. It's always so wonderful to see everyone in person. We also know there's a lot of logistics and planning up to this, so wanted to share a few reminders as well as open it up for questions. And of course, you know, happy to answer questions at any time. But please register. So first off, if you've not already, registration will close October 10th. And there's a link in the PowerPoint, and I think we'll get that in the chat as well. So if you have not already registered, please do so. We also have the Hyatt Regency is open until September 26th. So if you've not already done that, the link is there. And, you know, thank you. I think a lot of you have already registered, have already booked your room. But if not, yeah, please do get on that. Also, a workshop RFP has been sent out. And so please complete it if you would like to facilitate a breakout session. You know, last in May, the breakout sessions were so rich, and I think were one of the highlights of the whole convening. So please, if you have some ideas, and also you have the option of teaming up with another grantee or grantees if you have, you know, an idea and you kind of want to approach it together. Also, we'll see what we can do with ideas that come in and maybe help, you know, combine grantees if there's, you know, a topic that seems to be popular. So please do share your ideas. Again, I think this is one of the best parts of the convening, really hearing and learning from all of you. So, and then let's see. Yeah, also, I think you've probably heard there will be networking tables. And so, you know, we have one for each grantee. Please do bring your campaign materials, anything else you would like to share. We'll have a bit of time for some networking and walking around. And, you know, it's always wonderful to chat and see what everyone's up to, look at some of the materials. And I know you all are even further along than, you know, when we last met and saw a number of these different materials and talked with folks. So yeah, that would be great. Please bring materials to share. And yeah, we'll get a draft agenda out to everyone soon. But of course, your TAs are available and happy to answer any questions that you have. But also we have a few minutes right now if any burning questions or anything that pops up for you. Probably others are thinking and wondering the same thing. So And thank you, Jeanette, for the registration link. Any questions about the convening?
Just to piggyback
Yeah.
on what you just said about the table is optional, but we do ask you during registration, do you want a table, yes or no? So that gives you the chance to kind of let us know so we can make sure we have enough tables, we make sure everybody is represented. So, you know, you don't feel obligated, but we'd love for you to have the opportunity to come and have some materials, the ability to share and network with your peers. So there it is a question in registration that will ask you if you like a table, and that kind of just helps us keep a head count and we'll know, you know, who we need to set tables up for. So you do have that opportunity.
Yep. Thanks, Jeanette. And, you know, we know that a number of you are flying up, so you don't need to bring big banners or anything, you know, just if you wanted to do it, some materials to set on a table. So, yeah. Thanks for adding that. Any other questions or comments from the team? All right. Well, we're very excited to see everyone in just under a month here. So thank you.
So next we're going to do some breakout groups. We're going to give you all some time to get together, to brainstorm. You are welcome to kind of hop in any group. There's not anything in particular about the group that you go to because the topic is all the same across the board. So next slide, please. So our breakout rooms are broke up by our TAs. We've got a slight change. In room number 4 will be Coy, but I think Emily's going to hop in and join her as well. And when it pops up, you can select a room. It'll be at the bottom of your screen. And if you don't select a room, we can also kind of help move people around and assign people in case it doesn't pop up for you. So just know that we can also help out. So next slide, please, will be the topics that we're going to talk about. And then there's a Padlet. So we've got a couple of questions. I know some people are heavy in campaign mode. We're discussing social media, how we're disseminating things. What are some ideas? What have been some successes? What have been things you'd like to change? If you haven't necessarily launched your campaign, what are you thinking about? What are your approaches? So just getting some of that peer sharing and learning and things that have happened over time concerning your campaign work and how social media has been effective or successful in what you've been doing. So what we're asking is that on the Padlet, it's labeled by the room that you're in, and everybody will have access to the Padlet. But under your room, you can just answer these questions, and then this will be something that you'll have access to forever. You can always go back to it, look at people's responses, even in different rooms, and you'll have access. So, and we've got about 30 to 40 minutes for this particular breakout room. So we'll give you plenty of time. If we end a little early, that's even better, but we'll give you plenty of time to get in there and have some great discussion. So if we like to open up any questions before we get started, let's do that first. Okay. So Kyrene, we'd like to open up our breakout room.
Welcome back, everyone. I think we're all back.
Yes, hello.
All right.
Yes, looks like everybody popped back in. Hope we had some great discussion in our breakout groups, and we've got some ideas and juice flowing and things put on our Padlets that we can refer back to and share with each other and learn from. Would anybody like to talk about what they talked about in their room? We'll have maybe 1 or 2 rooms go just to be cognizant of time.
Is everyone from my group okay with us going? Okay, well, I'll just go.
Yes.
Sounds like I think the general consensus in our group was that everyone's doing really great work. So I just definitely wanted to say it's inspiring to hear so many of us who are really specifically around youth, really, focusing on uplifting them and wanting to give them space. I think the other concern that kind of came up in our group was, what we're doing to kind of keep the kids, to coming, being involved and wanting to be there. And so, me and Jesse, as folks may or may not know, my name is John. I'm with RPYA. Me and Jesse both work with Rainbow Pride Youth Alliance. Hey, Greg. And ultimately, we work with queer youth. And one of the biggest concerns has been how scared they've been, and ultimately in needing and wanting spaces to be able to feel seen and heard. And so, this I was working on a different grant for about a year. It was with the organization that we were working with, and basically it was a mental health thing. We've kind of merged into Say It Out Loud, and we've been able to bring over 5 youth from that grant to this one, and so now we're at 11 youth. And working with the 11 youth, we've been able to really give them space and a place for them to be able to kind of talk about what they want to do with this campaign, to get adults to hear them and understand them, and to meet their needs. And so we're still figuring that out. We're trying to figure out what this campaign is, but the biggest thing is just wanting to give youth the space to be able to figure that out, and the support, and also giving them some change. We've been able to put some change in their pockets. And I think that's the thing our group was saying that really works is, whether it's $50, whether, it's some pizza and, a couple of bags of, hot Cheetos, the kids are grateful for it. And, we're really happy that we're able to do that for them.
Thank you, Dr. John. I always love to hear from you. Shout out to my grantee. I enjoy our check-ins and everything they have going on. And it sounds like your breakout room had a lot of great things and nuggets to learn from each other. So sound like you all had a great breakout room. Any other breakout rooms want to let us know what you all talked about? It could be anyone. If not, it's
I'll go. I just wanted to bounce from Dr. Higgins's comments. I really appreciate the time that you guys throughout this whole process with CYBHI. I really appreciate the length of time that you've given us now with our breakout rooms. I know in the beginning we started off with like 20 minutes, and things like that. But these 45 minutes, honestly, I learned so much from everybody in our breakout rooms, and just motivating each other and just talking about the whole process. It kind of just makes you feel not alone if you are hitting some bumps on the road with your own grant. And that way you can just share and motivate each other on how to, how to better the process of your campaign. So I really, really appreciate that from everybody in our room.
Thank you for that comment, Elizabeth. It means a lot. We heard you all when you said you wanted the more time, the peer, the sharing, the learning with each other. And by all means, I think that's a beautiful benefit of being able to bring everyone together, whether in person or virtually. It's a great benefit. And I'm sure you all are gaining massive amounts of knowledge and things from each other. So thank you for that. Well, we can hop into our next thing on the agenda. So next slide, please. And we will go into the Cali Campaign's one pager. So something our eval team put together over the summer, and this is kind of the official debut of it. So we can go to the next slide. They created a Cali Campaign's one pager. So this is the initial one. There will be more. They have not decided how or when they're going to debut them. So they're working on it. It's a work in progress, but this is our initial one. And we will drop the PDF in the chat so you all can download it and see what it looks like. But it is really a tool that you all can use and share, and something that you can print and give out, or you can email to your listservs, your communities, people that you know, talking about the Cali campaign. And it does grantee spotlights. It has logos at the bottom, and it just gives out some strategies and numbers and things that we've learned over the time. So you can also find this on the new CYBHI landing page, and the link to the website is probably in the chat as well. And it is on our website, and it's probably right at the middle. If you get on the website, kind of scroll down, you'll see the one pager that you can download. So this is the first of many, and there will be plenty to come. All right, next slide. And I'm going to hand it over to Erica.
Great. Thank you so much, Jeanette. And I just kind of want to wrap up with some announcements as we usually do. If we can go to the next slide. And I think some of this I can, first one, just the evaluation of reporting timeline. This is something that we showed last month and Emily briefly went over it today as well, but just a reminder, and this will be in the slide deck, so you can always refer to it. But this is the evaluation related timeline. So this is just an FYI. Next slide. And some of these announcements we already talked about. So just a reminder that the in-person convening is coming up. It'll be October 20th to the 21st, 2 days in Monterey, which is where I am. So I'm so happy to be able to share my town with you guys. And I know the Village Project, one of our fellow grantee partners, is also based here. So we'll be getting together and sharing some of our favorite places, local places. The Cali campaign spotlights. I think Amber might be able to say some more about this as well, but just so you know, in partnership with OHI and also on our website, we're spotlighting some of the Cali campaigns. Amber, do you have any? Oh, I could see that there's a link that Amber put in the chat. And Amber, I don't know if you have anything else you want to say about these.
Yes. As you all know, we are currently featuring each of you on a bi-weekly basis. And so at this time, we are currently featuring La Familia. But in the past, we've highlighted Latino services providers, Safe Passages, Cal Pride, and Indian Health Council. So thank you for filling out the information. You guys have obviously amazing campaigns, so we're excited to feature them across our platforms, as well as the Take Space to Pause Instagram page.
Thanks so much, Amber. And if you click on these links, it might be a good way to start sort of poking around the new website. You'll see lots of things that are featured. In addition to the spotlights, we're also featuring a lot of your resources. You'll see the data dashboard that's there, which will give you an idea of how we're using your data in effective ways so that people know what kind of impact your work is having. And then you'll see the hub that also houses all of the past TSLs and our convening events. So it's now become a good central place to, and for you guys who are looking for funders, you might want to link to certain parts in there as well to show funders the kind of work that you're involved in and that you're doing. Next announcement, just kind of related to what I was just sort of talking about as well, is to keep your process data up to date. You all have that spreadsheet. So just keep on putting data there related to all the wonderful work that you're doing. As you know, that translates to a dashboard, and it's really fun to see cumulatively the kind of impact you're having around the state. Also stay tuned for guidance on the implementation evaluation. So you heard our partners from Sentient. They made an announcement earlier today. You'll start to get some more information on that. Just a reminder too, we are in the final year of the Cali campaign. I can't believe it, but project implementation ends May 31st, and you have 1 month to close out by June 30th. So June 30th is the actual end date of the grant that's in your contract. We want to make sure that you have plenty of time to close out. So your project, the official technical project implementation related to the grant ends on May 31st, 2026. So just keep that in mind. That doesn't mean it's the end of everything. We're hoping that you'll find ways to continue. But for this grant, that's just kind of the technical reminder of when things close out. And then before we leave, I also have one more announcement, which is that, and maybe you'll start to notice this, but we are experiencing a staffing shift, a staffing change over here at PHI's Center for Wellness and Nutrition, CWN. As you know, and we've been talking about this, we're currently living in a very chaotic and volatile climate. And it's not just the rhetoric that we're all hearing, but also decisions that are being made by Congress and our current administration. And those decisions have a chilling effect, as you know, in our communities. But it is also, that chilling effect has really reached the walls of our organization at PHI-CWN. So due to the passage of HR 1, also known as the Big Beautiful Bill or the Reconciliation Bill that we signed on July 4th, funding for one of our signature programs, SNAP-Ed. As you know, we work on this program, but we also run a lot of different SNAP-Ed, that's the supplemental nutrition program. We run a lot of those programs across the nation, not just in California, but in other states as well. SNAP-Ed is the community engagement and education portion of SNAP, and that has been eliminated by Congress and the president as of the end of this month. So as of September 30th, SNAP-Ed, all funding for SNAP-Ed has been eliminated. Due to that, our organization has had to reduce our staff pretty significantly. It's a really devastating loss of talent and a very alarming brain drain in public health. But just so you know, so the funding for this program obviously is safe, and we are going to continue to run this program as we have planned and work with all of you, just as you see today, as we have done to date, and we will finish out this as planned. However, I think you should know that there are 3 Cali campaign team members who will be departing as a result of our staffing changes. And as you know, that's devastating because all of our team love this project. They work passionately with all of you, passionately on this topic. So it's very sad to see them go. So I just want to recognize that the 3 who are departing, just to say thank you and we appreciate all that they've given, and we wish them well. And for those of you who will be affected directly by this, you will be contacted. So you'll have a separate meeting. So you'll know who those staff people are, and we'll make sure that there's a very smooth transition. All of you are doing great work already, so I think it's going to be a smooth transition. I think if you know, the biggest thing is just the devastation of losing such great talent on our team. So just wanted to let you know that. And I don't know if anybody who's departing wants to come off mic to say goodbyes. It's up to you. But you'll definitely be, but we will definitely contact you directly so that you know what the transition will be like. Thank you, Catherine, very much for your message. We will miss you very much. And yeah, so I'm sorry to end on that note, but I just wanted to let you know that, you know, things that are happening, we're starting to feel them now, and it's very real. And I'm sure a lot of you are also experiencing these things. So any questions or comments, or if I don't know if anybody else wants to come on mic, feel free to do that.
Yeah, this is Greg. I just wanted to, I'll put this in the chat. There is an email list. It's called Dan's List. I just put the URL on the chat, and it's mostly Southern California, but they do have positions in other parts of California and sometimes nationally as well. It is done by a volunteer named Dan. He works in Southern California at an NGO. And if you sign up for the list, every couple of days, you will get a fairly long list of open positions. And what they really specialize on are positions at nonprofit organizations, government, education, and the arts, and sort of related nonprofit organizations. So just for general knowledge, and for any of you that may need to or want to see what's out there or look for a new position, it's a really great resource. And if you click on the link, it will allow you to sign up. So just wanted to share that with everyone.
Thank you, Greg. It's good to know. I also put a link to our newsletter. You'll see I have a letter in there, a director's letter that talks a little bit about this as well. But on the side, we've also been advocating. It's very important to advocate for our communities and our programs. And so, on the side, we do our advocacy to reach out to members of Congress, and all of you are free to do that as well. But we will continue to fight the fight. We're committed to be the resistance. We're committed to health equity, and especially to our youth, who we need to pass, we need to pass the right messages on to them. So anyway, thank you very much. And again, we're going to continue to work on this. This is not going to affect how we implement this campaign. We're excited to continue to move forward, and we're grateful to be in partnership with all of you. So thanks very much.
Thank you to all of you.
Thank you. Well, thank you for that, Erica. Next slide, please, because I think we are towards the end. We thank you all for being here today, and we had to share our news with you, but we still appreciate your feedback. So if you have some time, please scan our QR code. I think there will be a link dropped in the chat as well. We appreciate all your feedback and everything that we have going on, and we take it to heart. As you see, we've made some changes, we've implemented things along the way, and we've still got time with you all for the next couple of months, and we'll make sure that all feedback is taken seriously, and we appreciate it. We'll give it a moment to stay up on the screen if you need to scan, and the link is in the chat. You can go to our next slide. And just your reminder, fall convening, October 21st through the 22nd. We'll be excited to see you all in person. Your statewide month of action plan will be due October 24th. Again, we'll give some time at the convening to brainstorm, plan, have some idea sharing with you all. We will collect kind of your final ideas behind this by the 24th. We're still working out how to collect that, but we've got some ideas going to get that information to you. If you have not done the survey from Rescue, please make sure you do that. I know TAs have reached out to grantees individually who have not done it. Please make sure you get that in today. Even if you're doing a digital, not in-person event, we still would like to collect that information to make sure that everybody's represented, that we know everybody's participating, and organization, contact information, things of that sort. Don't forget that your participatory learning project concepts are due by October 31st. That document was also shared in the chat, but we will definitely get that out in our email communication that we do after every TSL. So we will share that again in case you didn't catch it in the chat. And we'll get a lot of these information and announcements out to you in that email as well, along with a recording for this event. So next slide, please. And we just want to thank you all for being here. We've had another successful TSL. We enjoy spending time with you all, and we appreciate you all for being here. We appreciate for all the hard work you're doing, especially with your youth and all the work and time and effort that they're putting in. And you don't know how to find us and get in touch with us. And if you have any questions, concerns, comments, your TAs are great resources. And you can email us at the CYBHI email, and we'll see you guys in less than a month.
See you soon. Bye.
Have a great rest of your day, everybody.